Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal.
Hey my baddies, what's good? Y'all already know who it is. If you don't know, it's your girl Miss T. I like that. I really do, y'all. Quick. Little 1, 2. I just literally, y'all, just got out the gym. It was freezing cold down here in Florida today. Today is the 4th of January. If you're not from Florida, I know you think I'm crazy right now. Like, girl, what are you talking about? Freezing cold, where, how? Talk to me. But it was, I promise y'all. So, and I got it this morning. Y'all did not want to go. Like, I was literally, I stayed in bed just wrapped up tight because I know once I got out of that, like that, my comforter, like my blankets, like I would have been so cold. But I still pushed myself, honey. I still got up. Like, that's the point of being consistent with every single thing I do this year, and being intentional about every single thing I do as well. So I know that today was my video day as well. So I've actually brought my hairdresser. So I woke up this morning very much intentional, okay? Now then, again, about being intentional. When you're intentional about your life, you don't have to say nothing to nobody. Like, people just see it. I literally just walked out the gym, and a guy, he was backing out from the gym, and he stopped me. He was like, are you a college athlete or something? And I'm like, no. He was like, I was like, why did you ask? He was like, you just seem like somebody that, like, you know, probably goes like the FAMU or IMG. You know, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, maybe I need to. So he was like, you should. Like, he was like, because you literally work out like one. So that was amazing. That was very, very sweet to hear. If I was not even in the gym yet and headed in the gym and, like, you know, didn't want to, that would have literally motivated me. All right. So today's video is about how to start your self-love journey. All right. I did write some, like, notes, y'all. So I'm trying to find it just to make sure that I stay on point, because y'all know I am very much long-winded. So let's get to it. So yes, how to start your self journey. We're going to just go ahead and jump right into it. First and foremost is to be committed with your self journey. Like, it is not an easy process. If you guys see me just kind of like zoom down, I'm looking at my notes, okay? So it is not an easy process to start anything consistently, especially your life. Often when we do start like our self journey, or we start, you know, focusing on more inward or within ourselves, it's a reason that kind of shuts into like the self-development bracket. You know, whether that's like relationships or friendship or certain things in your family that you started to see that it was a pattern, or you know, certain things within yourself that you didn't like, and you realize, well, like, yo, why do I keep doing that? You know what I mean? So it's a lot of things and reasons why you can start self-development. It doesn't necessarily have to be about a relationship, but typically, I don't know the percentage, but typically it's because of relationships for the most of us, right? I'll be honest, the reason that started me, I guess you could say, in my self-development was looking at things in my relationship, or looking at things that I was doing that was not me. So that's what kind of started me into my self-development. So the first thing on the list would definitely have to be being committed. First off, knowing the reason why, and being honest with yourself on the reason why you started your self-development. A lot of times too, we're so when you don't know yourself, you can't be honest with yourself. So a lot of times too, when you're starting your self-development, we would sit there and push you on somebody else, or, you know, find reasons, or somebody else, or let's say we're in a relationship and somebody's doing you so wrong, you would find every wrong, or pull up, if you're one of those persons to source for information, you will pull up things that this person is doing to you instead of looking at the things that you're accepting. And I know sometimes it's hard to hear or to understand, but the problem never is from somebody else. I promise you guys, everything that I allowed into my relationships, my past relationships, whether that's, you know, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, it was all because of me. And I'm not going to say they hit me or they did anything because of me, but it was things that I allowed people to do to me, and they thought it was okay to do. You get what I'm saying? Now, what they did overall is wrong, period. But I allowed the situation, or I allowed certain situations to feel acceptable, or but that's the truth. I mean, a lot of times too, and especially when it comes down to physical abuse, it's it's one of those things where you have to kind of like thread lightly, because it's never another person's the victim's fault on why you're being abused, but it's the reason why, it's the acceptance and the reason why we allow people to think it's okay for them to do certain things. I don't know if that makes sense. All right. Another thing is, hard to find things to help you along your journey. Whether that's professional help, like reading a book. I'm a person, again, whatever works for you, but I wouldn't tell people to like branch off into like asking other people for certain things, or your friends, or all type of like, your friends, you know what I mean? Like kind of confiding in them and asking them for help, unless they've done the self-work, because a lot of times what you're going to hear that person's opinion, or not just opinion, but probably what they're going through right now, or what their acceptance level is, or what they're like. You're basically asking somebody that's in your same shoe how to help you, and that never works. So I would tell people, if you're doing the self journey, personally, professional therapy definitely help. What I've did, honestly, I just started reading certain things that was relatable to my life and what I went through. So one of the books that I read, the first books that I read, and I'll tell y'all how I got into that book on another video, but I just don't want it to be so long. But the book is called Trust. Okay, if I tell y'all how the book came my way, y'all. But when I tell y'all, that's how God works. Okay, so the book is called Trust. It's from Ayama Vincent. I think I'm Vincent. She say she don't play by her name, but from Ayama Vincent, and the book is called Trust. It's about trusting God, trusting others, trusting life, and trusting yourself. It's not in that same category, in the same lineup, but that's the 4 meanings of the Trust book, basically. And when I tell you guys, when I personally started to read that book, it literally took me all the way back into my childhood days, and the way that I was raised, and my prodigy, and my religion that I was brought up in, the reason why I thought the way I thought. Everything, I promise you guys, went way back to my childhood. All right, way back to certain things in my family, way back to my mother's life, you know what I mean? So when I started to kind of like break that down and realize, okay, well, this is a pattern. My mother did this, and so on and so forth. And what I thought that was okay, or maybe because when growing up, you heard, depending on what your situation is, like, you're so grown, or you're so fast, or you're so this, and so that. All of these things makes you into this person that you never was, but in your head growing up, you heard it so much, especially from adults, you have no other choice than to think that's exactly what you are, right? So again, that's what I started. I started with the Trust book. I went from the Trust book and I started to read. The Trust book helped me so much the Trust book helped me to realize everything started from within me. Period. Every single thing started from within me. Things that I had to break, family patterns I had to separate myself from, all these things started from within me. And once I learned that, my love comes from me, my hate comes from me, and that's something I don't even like using the word of now, but every single thing comes from within me. My happiness comes from within me. Nobody else can make me happy. You can add to it, you can give me a bonus, but you can never make me happy. You can never make me mad. You can never do anything that I do not allow you to do. So once I started doing that, I started to branch off into, again, learning how to use myself. And one of the biggest books for me was The Secret. I know The Secret has been around for years. I want to say over 25 years. Rhonda Rhimes is her name. I want to say her name, but it's so many different people that play a part within the book. One of my favorite was Lisa Nichols, The Chicken Soup. It's so much things in there, that basically helped with learning not just learning who I am, but how to use who I am, how to use manifestation, how to be deliberate on certain things that I say. So that's, again, reading books. Honestly, y'all, I started finding time for myself. So I would go to the beach, like not too far from my house, and just, first thing in the morning, where it's just the ocean and me. The ocean and me. And sometimes I would just sit there quiet and just kind of let certain things come to me. I love to start my day with a prayer. And then within that, certain things I started to switch up. So recently I started meditating first. And then once I've learned, because again, when you grow up in certain religions, it's so hard to, and for me, it was so hard to do certain things because I never wanted to feel like I'm not doing God's work, or I'm not going to Him for my answers, right? But what I had to start to learn was every single thing that I was using played a part of my self-development, played a part of my personal relationship with God. So I recently just started to meditate before I pray. Reason being is because meditation put me in a state of mind of clarity. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not necessarily worrying about what I want from the day, what I have to do, not what I want, but what I have to do today, all the errands I have to make, taking care of my daughter, cleaning, work, whatever that may be. It separates me from that, and it allows me to clear my mind first off, so I can ask and know what it is that I want from today, and then I turn to God and put that into. I go to God then, because now I have a clear mind. You know what I mean? So I'm not asking for a good day. I don't want nobody to stress me out and this and that. When I have a clear mind, nobody's going to stress me out, because today is just a good day. So I go into my prayer speaking just that. Today is going to be a good day. I'm not worried about what else is going on. That's how I start my prayer. So I hope I'm making sense, guys, with this. So that's what I did as well. Start to break down and become aware of family patterns and acknowledge the similarities. So that's another thing. If it's certain things in your family's, life, or, family lifestyle, or patterns again, that you realize, okay, like for me, one of the biggest things was, and I love my family, but one of the biggest things for me was my family they like to kind of pick on people. You know what I mean? Like, they'll just see somebody. And it's funny, to them, but for a long time, I used to say, that's not funny to me, because I don't know what somebody else is going through. You know what I mean? I don't know their circumstances, or, somebody being big, you know what I mean? And I don't know why they're big. They probably tried so hard to lose weight, and they have a health condition, and that's the reason why they can't lose weight. But here I am, trying to pick at them, or when I get mad or they cross me off, the first thing I'm going to do is call out something on them. And when you realize that, what I learned to realize is, a lot of times when you sit there and you pick on people, it's because you're not comfortable within yourself. So that was something in my family pattern, I guess you can say, I personally did not like, amongst a lot of other things. But it was something to me that I didn't like, okay? For people-pleasing personalities, build boundaries and announce them. So people like me, I was one of those persons where I was addicted to people pleasing, okay? Certain people in my family, I felt like I just had to, in order for them to make them, for me to be liked. I used to say a lot of times, I grew up as a class clown, and I did. But my class clown was, again, coming from a place of being liked. I just had this thing where I had to people please. And then for me, the hardest thing I had to do was set boundaries and announce that, no, I don't want to do that. That was one of the hardest things for me. No, I don't want to just please you all the time. And it's a difference from telling a person and announcing to someone what your boundaries are. Because a lot of times, especially depending on who you're coming to, one of my biggest triggers for me is my mom. And announcing anything to her. So had I did not read the book, you know what I mean, or I was just getting pointers here and there and not knowing, I would have came to her Mom, I'm just letting you know, I don't want you to cross this line. It don't make me feel good, and da da da. And the minute she had said something to me and went back and forth, it would have went into a big old argument. That's not announcing your boundaries. Announcing your boundaries is saying in a tone of voice, and not just in a tone of voice, but in accountability to yourself, and to accountability within yourself, and you're letting people know, look, this is where I'm at. This is what I want. This is what I don't want. And the minute you cross that line with love in my heart, I'm going to have to separate myself. The minute I don't stay true to myself and I stay true to you, that's still a problem within me that I have to work on. And I'm not there anymore. I've worked on it and I'm working on it. So what I need you to do is accept those boundaries. And if you don't accept it, that's also okay. But also, what I'm going to tell you is, until you learn how to accept those boundaries, I'll be on this side. You don't draw a line in the sand, and the minute somebody cross that boundaries, you back up and you draw another line, because all you're gonna be doing is drawing lines and lines and lines. And again, the problem has nothing to do with nobody else, because you're allowing them to overcross those boundaries. Simple. So once you make your you announce your boundaries, that's it. And the minute you put yourself in a state of, you're not going back and forth. You know what I mean? It's just, listen, if you want to yell, it's no point of us having this conversation, because two people cannot talk over each other or talk with each other. So I just wanted to let that be known, and I wish you guys all the best. People, and I'm sorry for looking down, but this is a whole freaking list, okay? So for the people that's leaving an intimate relationship, trying or having a hard time coming to pass that it's over, start to learn what you like, what you thought you did, and what you really don't like. Start to slowly do things you wanted to do. Highly recommend it. Not saying you have to do it, all right? But this is very highly recommended. Take an absence from sex. No connection or soul ties to the opposite or same sex doesn't cloud your judgment. Then separate yourself. I'm talking about you not going on a people page, not searching them, not seeing, oh, his followers was at 901, now it's at 903. Let me see who following them. You know, well, let me see what his homeboy, like, what he done comment on his homeboy post. You know, let me drive by the house, pass by the mama house, hop in my friend car, ask her to use my car so I can do a little drive by. But then you go from that to, child, I don't care about that nigga. I don't care about the nigga. You do. Especially when you're like, and I know what it is because I went through it. When you feel like, you know, this is all you know. This was your dude, like, you know, or your chick. And now it's like, what am I supposed to do? Sometimes you just have to start a routine. You don't have to go to the gym like I do. You can just go to a water. You can go to a park every single day, every single morning, and change your mindset to something else every single day for at least 30 days. At least 30 days. And I promise y'all gonna get some results. Okay? And you gonna have those times where, you know, you kind of just like zoom cross them or cross her. But then just as quick as that, it makes it easier. Every single day it becomes easier for you to let go. If you want to let go. And now if you don't want to, you're not going to. All right? And if you don't want to, then you're not on a self journey. Oh, listen, when you start to do things when you start to do things for you, not nobody else. Let's make this clear. Self-love has nothing to do with never wanting to be in a relationship. Self-love has to do with learning who you are, accepting who you are, breaking down certain bad patterns and negative patterns of yourself. So when you do, you know, become whole, or when you do start to learn and you fully start to love yourself, and you get to a point where you know that self-love is not a destination, it's a journey. So you're always on it, even in a relationship. You know what I mean? You're always on it. But now I'm at a point in my life where I have so much love. I've decluttered so much from my life. So I hope I helped somebody. This video this is like 28 minutes right now, so I had to chop this all the way down. We definitely gonna hit 15 minutes. 16 minutes is the longest. So that's how you start to do the self-work, y'all. I promise y'all. So if this is the journey that y'all want to be on, I tell y'all, this is not for the weak. It is not for the weak, okay? Because this thing, I swear to you, you're going to lose friendships. For a minute, you and your family probably going to go through it. You know? People going to be looking at you crazy probably. You know, that happens too. It do. Sometimes you might look at yourself crazy. Yeah, it do. It really, really do. You get to a point of, I don't know if I can do this. You know, especially when you're abstinent. I told you guys, I've been abstinent for 2 years, okay? You know, you start to get a little shaky between those legs, honey. You know? And it's like, well, damn, do I want to really do this? And I promise y'all, it is worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it. I hope I helped somebody. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this content. And let's be active on here. Let's be a lot more active than we was last year. I love you guys, and we staying consistent this year. All right. Make sure, like I said, guys, you are subscribed so you can get the notification when I do post another video, so you're not missing nothing. All right. Love you guys. See you.
Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal.